In the summer of 1942, the fate of the world hung in the balance. Hitler's war machine, seemingly invincible, had plunged deep into the Soviet Union. The target was Case Blue, a grand offensive to seize the oil fields of the Caucasus. But one city, bearing the name of the Soviet leader himself, became an obsession for Hitler. A city that would become a graveyard for his ambitions, Stalingrad. This is the story of the battle that broke the back of the Third Reich. The German Sixth Army, under the command of General Friedrich Paulus, was a formidable force, hardened by years of victory. In late August, they reached the outskirts of Stalingrad. The Luftwaffe unleashed a bombing campaign of unimaginable ferocity, reducing over 80% of the city to a smouldering ruin. Hitler believed the city would fall in weeks. He was wrong. What followed was not a battle of tactics, but of pure attrition. The Soviets, under the rallying cry of "not a step back," turned every pile of rubble into a fortress. This was the Rattenkrieg, the Rat War. Fighting was savage, intimate, and relentless. Soldiers fought for control of single rooms, sewer tunnels, and shattered factory floors. Life was measured in meters and minutes. Iconic locations like the grain elevator and Pavlov's house became symbols of the desperate, heroic Soviet resistance, where a handful of men could hold off entire German battalions for months. As winter approached, the German army was bogged down in the meat grinder of urban warfare, their blitzkrieg tactics rendered useless. While the Sixth Army bled in the ruins, Soviet General Georgy Zhukov was preparing a masterstroke. On November 19, 1942, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus. Two massive pincers, attacking the weaker Romanian and Italian flanks north and south of Stalingrad, smashed through the Axis lines. Within 4 days, the trap was sprung. General Paulus and his entire Sixth Army, nearly 300,000 men, were encircled. Hitler, in a fit of delusion, forbade any attempt at a breakout. He promised the trapped army they would be supplied by air. The Luftwaffe's air bridge was a catastrophic failure. The brutal Russian winter, General Winter, descended with full force. Trapped in the frozen wasteland, the German soldiers starved and froze to death. Ammunition ran out. Hope vanished. By January 1943, the situation was hopeless. The Soviets closed in, splitting the German pocket into smaller and smaller pieces. On January 31st, a gaunt and defeated General Paulus, whom Hitler had just promoted to Field Marshal in a vain attempt to ensure he would commit suicide rather than surrender, gave himself up. The last pockets of German resistance fell within days. Of the nearly 300,000 men trapped in the Stalingrad pocket, only 91,000 were taken prisoner. Of those, a mere 5,000 would ever see Germany again. The Battle of Stalingrad was the turning point of World War II on the Eastern Front. The myth of German invincibility was shattered forever. The sheer scale of the losses, the Axis suffered over 800,000 casualties, the Soviets over 1 million, is almost incomprehensible. But for the Soviet Union, it was a victory that galvanized the nation. From the ashes of Stalingrad, the Red Army began its long, bloody march to Berlin. The tide of the war had turned, irrevocably.